Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek here at ACD Games Day with Ted Alspach from Bezier Games, looking at Werewolf Inquisition with a prototype copy, non-finished.
It's the production. It's being produced right now. It should be ready to go by Origins.
Okay, but we can talk about the gameplay. That is finished. So, maybe you can give us an overview of the game here. How is this not like Resistance?
Let's start there. It's like Resistance in a lot of ways. There's no Merlin for the new version. But the basic idea here is that there's townsfolk in a village that have a werewolf problem. And so,
as usual,
it happens in villages. Yes. They've called us in to help them figure out who in their village is a werewolf. And what these cards right here are, this represent the residents inside the village. And 4 of these are werewolves. We don't know which ones, though, because they're all kind of masked in secrecy right now.
Yes, they all wear cloaks inside the village. You think they would just solve this problem very easily by banning cloaks?
That would help a lot, yes, and just look for bloodstains and things like that. But no. It made it more challenging for us. So us as the players, we're called in as a special Inquisition team to determine who among the residents are werewolves and who are villagers. And really our goal is to basically just start lynching these people until we get rid of the werewolves.
Okay.
So that would be great.
Wait a minute. It's like bringing up references to Vietnam. To cure the town, we must burn it to the ground.
Yeah, well, and it was definitely secure. That's the same sort of thing, except we don't need to burn this in here. Although we do have buildings to get that will go away too with the residents. Which is
no jokes about Vietnam are to be taken seriously. You get in trouble if you start gassing us.
Bring it up.
No,
that's okay.
We're going to We're going to boycott.
Let's not start with a boycott before the game's out. Wait till it's out, then boycott it. Hopefully there'll be a better reason to do that. Okay. All right, so the way I've described it so far...
hopefully there's a better reason to boycott, Mike.
No, we don't want to boycott. Okay. Let's just avoid that.
Anyway, gameplay, yes.
So all of us are working together to figure out who the werewolves are and get rid of them. So from that angle, it sounds like it's a cooperative game. However, there's a twist. There's a really good twist, because each of us, before the game started, have gotten one of these cards. Okay. And this card is dun dun dun.
It's a secret. It's a secret.
And this one, I don't know, but there's usually at least 3 players who might have the same thing. It's not going to work in this case. Yeah. But some of us are just regular old villagers. Some of us, though, are werewolves, and we're working in concert with the werewolves in this village to basically thwart the Inquisition and prevent them from figuring out who the werewolves are. Okay. The werewolf players know who the other werewolf players are, just like in regular Werewolf or the spies in Resistance. Bring that up. So there's 2 teams, but of course the villagers don't know which one of the players are werewolves and working against them. The way the turns work is you start, whoever has a little Grand Inquisitor marker gets to go first, and they're going to basically visit one of the residents' huts. So there's a bunch of huts there, and they each give you a special power to help you suss out who among these residents is a werewolf.
Right. And you mentioned before that you have some recommended setup for beginning players, and then you can kind of randomize it based on their
and there's
12 out of 19.
You can put in to totally change it, and you can kind of skew it in one direction or another towards the werewolves or towards the villagers, depending on how well your group is working.
Right.
So, for instance, real basic sort of card is the Seer. Most people are familiar with the Seer from Werewolf games. The Seer lets you actually learn the identity of something. So, if I were to take this, the Seer, it says, you can view a resident card. So I'll take a resident card and secretly view it. And so I know what that is. Once I've viewed it, I'm going to put it down sideways to show that this has been viewed at this point. So everyone knows I've seen this. Now I can tell people anything I want to about this card. I want to be careful because if I'm on the village team, I don't want to give away too much. If I'm on the werewolf team, I don't want to give away the wrong information either. Right. So I'm going to say this is a card we don't want to get rid of. This is a resident that's safe. It's not a werewolf. We want to keep it. Okay. That's all I'll say.
And in particular, you have werewolves, and then this might be the Seer or a sorcerer, or
it's going to be any one of these. These huts all correspond to the residents. Right. And so once I've taken that action, then it's no longer available for anyone else that round. Okay. So the next person in turn will take a different action. So they may take the bodyguard. The bodyguard allows you to place this on any one card to prevent them from being lynched that particular day. Okay. It goes around till everyone's taken a card and has done some of the special capabilities that are on there. And then whoever has the Grand Inquisitor marker at that point starts voting. And you vote simply with these voting cubes. There's a limited number of them. You kind of have to manage your resources here. Okay. And you pick any card that's available, in this case, except the bodyguard one, to vote on. Well, I said, let's not vote on this, so I'll vote there. Everyone will go around. They'll put cubes on various cards.
Okay, and the player count, 3 to 12, so.
Yeah, so any number in there. If there happens to be a tie, the Grand Inquisitor decides the one that's lynched. But otherwise, we look for the one that has the most cubes on it. We reveal what it is. It's a werewolf. Woohoo! Yay! We get rid of this and its corresponding card from the game. That's out. Then we have a nighttime phase. Nighttime phase works by the person with the Grand Inquisitor token picks one of these columns. So let's say I pick this column here. I take this column. Everybody closes their eyes. Mm-hmm. There you go. Good. And then we secretly pass the cards around. And the werewolves are able to look at the cards and reorder them. And then they pass it around. Eventually, it gets to you, and you pass it back.
And I just have to hold on to it for a little bit of time, so no one knows.
The villagers aren't allowed to change the order or to look at the cards. The werewolves are. Once the Grand Inquisitor has it back, you can open your eyes. And then we put the cards back. We put them back in order from top to bottom. The bottom card is the one that the werewolves attacked. Mm-hmm. And the werewolves, in this case, attacked the seer. So now the seer and its corresponding residency are out of the game. Then we have another round, same sort of thing. The game's over when either all the werewolves are dead, in which case the villagers win, yay, or if at any time there's more werewolves than there are villagers, in which case the werewolves have taken over, they've run amok, and the Inquisition is chased out of town. Okay. And that's.
So it's like a werewolf metagame in a sense, where this is the werewolf game that.
Yeah, it's if people playing the game of Werewolf had puppeteers pulling their little strings. That's that sort of thing, yeah.
So how did this, so this is not by you?
Yeah, this actually isn't designed by me. This was designed by legend Dan Hoffman. This is his first game. It's something he showed off at the Gathering a few years ago. And I saw it and I'm like, wow, this would really fit well within the Ultimate Werewolf family of games, even though it's a totally standalone game, doesn't require any other werewolf version with it. And we worked on it for the last 2 years to balance it. A lot of this sort of thing, when you have all the different cards and the roles and capabilities, that was the biggest challenge. And one of the things I think is great about it is it works well with down to 3 players. So you can actually have this kind of really neat werewolf experience with 3 players, one of which is a werewolf, 2 of which are villagers, all the way up to 12 players. And with 12 players, you have 7 people that are villagers and 5 that are werewolves. And anywhere in between there, and it's always a great time. I like it with the mid-range the most, but it actually plays really well. We just played, my wife and my son and I just played a 3-player game just this past weekend, just for fun. It was like one of the first times I got to play without doing testing or developing, and we had a blast. It was, my son was the werewolf. He made a horrible mistake, and the village won, which was great. But it was really fun. It was really engaging, and it had that whole werewolf feel to it, even with so few people, and of course no moderator and no elimination.
Right. So what's to keep the werewolf players from just saying, hey, I'm a werewolf, and like there's no disadvantage to revealing anything?
Well, there is, because you're going to see how they vote, what roles they choose.
Right, but they can mess with you with that too, can't
they? They certainly could. So a werewolf player could say, I'm a werewolf, and then vote for a villager to vote for a werewolf to be lynched and try to confuse everyone else. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do with this. And of course, in regular werewolf, if you ever said you were a werewolf, you're going to be out of the game right away. So here you can actually do that. And a strategy, of course, is to out yourself at some point, a lot of times. Especially if you have other hidden werewolves in the village. If you out yourself, you can do all sorts of other things to mess with people, like taking this bodyguard card and putting it on a known werewolf. Like someone's revealed this is a werewolf, and you go, okay, but he's safe now. Ha. Well, that's obviously a werewolf, but now everyone knows he's a werewolf, but he's just actually really helped the werewolf team quite a bit.
Okay. But I know as well there's the mayor role, which lets people control this, which then can control the use
and choosing the column and breaking ties, which is pretty powerful.
Right. I should mention this is the mayor. Mayor controls who gets the Grand Inquisitor, so the villagers can kind of, I guess, keep some control of who's going first in the round. And
both teams, they can. Most of the cards can be used to the advantage for both of the teams, which is kind of neat. The Sorcerer is a really powerful villager card in that it lets you check something that's already been checked. So once a villager has been checked, you're not allowed to look at it again with the Seer. The Sorcerer is the one card that lets you look at someone to see if they were lying or not about what is that card really. So,
but then you have to put some cubes on it. You gotta throw some.
It is. There's a penalty there. You have to vote for it too. So you're like, oh man. And then you have to, of course, it's 2, which is usually just 1 more than, it kind of takes the balance towards the werewolves then if that is a villager. So there's that nice little balance between there.
All right. And this is out by Origins 2013. That's the.
Just got the proofs this week and okayed everything, and they said that they pushed the big red button on the printer. So, and it is. He actually photographed. There's a big red button. And, he's pushing it. So.
Well, thanks for the overview.
Thank you.